Today on One Day Leader, our candidates prepared to look at sexiness and the portrayal of women in media. A very warm welcome to you, Mzansi, and welcome to One Day Leader. I can't believe we're halfway through the show. Well, my name is Tshwanelo Fokazi, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, as usual, we have prepared another exciting episode for you this week, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, we're still celebrating Women's Month, and so we decided to look at sexiness and the portrayal of women in media. Now, according to a UNESCO report, it will take almost 75 years to achieve gender equality because of the way women are depicted in media. I mean, images of underweight women are viewed as role models, and that tends to force our teenagers to have a negative perception of their own bodies. The popular stance is that sex sells and therefore exposes half-naked women in music videos and adverts and magazines. Now today we investigate the worldview of women and how they appear in the media. And in viewing of this topic, we find out how young people look up to these role models and investigate what the acceptable standard of sexuality should be in our society. We'd like to invite you to comment on our social pages. Our Facebook account is One Day Leader SA. Our Twitter account is at One Day Leader SA, and do hashtag One Day Leader. Now, last week our judges decided to save a candidate from elimination, so today we'll still have the top 5 leaders with us who are ready to share their vision statements. In leader number 1, we have Tshwanelo Fokazi.
Thank you, Tumi. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. It is a violation of human rights when babies are denied food, drowned, suffocated, their spines broken because they were born girls. It is a violation of human rights when women and girls are sold into prostitution. It is a violation of human rights when a man chokes his partner simply because she would not listen. If there is one truth that echoes from this message, let it be this: women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights. You cannot separate the two.
Thank you so much, Tshwanelo. Now that was leader number 1. We're heading over now to leader number 3, and her name is Matasha Mazomba.
Good evening, South Africa. In a society where a woman is nothing but the breasts that occupy her chest, or the hips and legs that sculpture her body, where her feet are nothing but another's fetish, and her eyes the windows through which vulnerability is exposed, I envision a South Africa where these breasts are viewed as the nourishment of future generations, where these hips are the place where children rest, and these legs and feet are those that stride beside a man and support him. I envision a South Africa where these eyes are the beholders of compassion, love, and determination. I envision a South Africa that realizes that the value of a nation lies within the value of its women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Now, without any further ado, we head over to leader number 4, and his name is Jabulani Sibiya.
My vision statement is dedicated to all women of South Africa to understand their actions, abilities, and force within society, to build a healthy mindset, to have a continuity of information that goes into their mindset. But most importantly, through the words of Brian Quinton, to understand your life, to be content and to move forward. Women of South Africa, I salute you.
Thank you so much, leader number 4. And now we have another female. Her name is Samantha Beynon, and she's leader number 5.
Good afternoon, Mzansi. As we think of the significance of the Women's Charter, as well as our former leaders such as Ngoyi, we think about these words: we shall teach the men that they cannot hope to liberate themselves from the evils of discrimination and prejudice as long as they fail to extend to women complete and unqualified quality in law and practice. Freedom cannot be won for any particular section of the population or the people as a whole, for so long as women are kept in bondage. And the same applies today. Women can deliver effectively, they are strong-minded, and they can bear the pressure as much as men. Our place is no longer limited to the kitchen, barefoot, and umiti, but wherever we want it to be as women of South Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you, leader number 5. And now we head over to leader number 6, Mr. Octavia Shabangu.
I believe that a person without an education is a person without power. You can have all the resources in the world and technological advancements, but without the knowledge on how to use it, the abundance is meaningless. Ngatshelwa ukuthi khula mntanami ufunde ukuze uzokhomba umama indlela. Namhlanje umama uMzansi Afrika asifundeni sikhomba umama indlela. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Octavia. Well, thanks to all our leaders for all those vision statements. And now, let's have a look at our scoreboards for this week. And now we're taking a look at our scoreboards, and as you can see, there are viewers' votes. At number 3, we have Octavia Shabangu with 1 point. At number 2, we have Samantha Beynon with 2 points. And in the number 1 spot, Mr. Jabulani Sibiya is heading that pile with 3 points. We take a look now at our overall series scoreboard, and Jabulani is heading, of course, the pack with 20 points. Samantha Beynon behind him with 13 points. Matasha Mazomba and Octavia Shabangu are there with 10 points at the number 3 spot, and Tshwanelo Fokazi is last with 9 points. Now, Mzansi, I urge you to keep voting for your favorite leader on our SMS line, which is 34020. And this is how you can vote. To vote for your favorite leader, SMS Leader 1, Tshwanelo Fokazi. Leader 3, Matasha Mazomba. Leader 4, Jabulani Sibiya. Leader 5, Samantha Beynon. And Leader 6, Octavia Shabangu. That's precisely how you can vote. Vote for your favorite leader and SMS, of course, their leader number to the number 34020. And you can also be the judge on Facebook and on Twitter. Tell us who you feel is your favorite leader for this episode. Now, the judges that are with us in studio are here, and let's meet, of course, our resident judges. A writer, a public speaker and social activist, Shaka Sisulu is a founding member of Cheese Kids, a board member of Love Life, and serves on the interim leadership task team of the ANC Youth League. Catherine Constantinides is the Youth Network Generation Earth co-founder, executive director of Miss Earth SA and lead SA executive. Well, now you have met our resident judges, and let's have a chat with them. Catherine, welcome back to One Day Leader. It's been so much pressure on and on, but the kind of pressure I want to talk about with you is that you are the executive director of Miss Earth, but also there's the ideal blonde with blue eye, fair skin. How do you deal with that perception?
I think this is something I deal with every single day, but it's about the ideals, the aspiration and the dreams that I have that break that mold every single day. It depends on what I do and how I break that mold by allowing people to fall in love with my mind, not the package that they see. Blonde, blue-eyed women shouldn't just adorn pages of magazines and billboards. They're not possessions. It's about the person, and it's what you do with who you are and the platforms you're given that will allow people to perceive you.
Absolutely, it's about the person. Shaka, welcome back. I mean, you had to play the very controversial judge last week when you announced the save, but we've also had so much comments on social media. Was it the pressure?
No, I think if we had to do it again, we'd do exactly the same thing. Everyone really came out to win last week. But Tshwanelo in particular raised the bar from where she was in the previous weeks to where she was last week. And we're really looking forward to all of you just keep, just pushing it an extra bit every week.
Thank you so much, Shaka. Now, our guest judge for this week is Ms. Zizo Beda, who came into the spotlight when she was crowned Miss Teen South Africa back in 2006. Now, she comes from Edutwa in the Eastern Cape, and after her reign, she became a presenter on Selimatunzi on SABC 1. She's still a model and is a brand ambassador for various popular brands. Zizo, welcome to One Day Leader.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this opportunity.
We're excited to have you. And I suppose my question is more similar to Catherine's. I mean, you came into the spotlight as a beauty queen, and I know that most beauty queens have that perception that there's nothing they can offer. But we know that you're a woman of substance. You are pursuing your studies, you're a presenter on television and also a brand ambassador. How do you balance the beauty queen world and, of course, your ambitions?
I think Catherine nailed it on the head. Your actions actually dictate how people will treat you. You need to be consistent as well. So don't portray yourself in a particular way to suit others today and change your tone tomorrow. I really think if you from the get-go continue to portray exactly who it is that you are, people will get to know that and over time hopefully respect that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Round of applause for our guest judge. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zizo. And as usual, we also have our guest DJ in studio. And this week we have Mr. KB Molupiane from Motsweding FM. KB, welcome to One Day Leader.
Good afternoon, Tumelo, and the viewers at home. I mean, it's beautiful. It's radio and TV together. Yes, I'm from Mutswedinyi FM, Konkabo Kamoso.
Thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to hear what you have to ask these contestants. So keep listening and ask them the hard questions.
Thank you, Tumi.
All right, thank you so much, KB. Now, this week, our contestants were tasked to investigate how society views sexiness and the portrayal of women in media, as well as the impact this has on young women who look up to them. And let's have a look at how this translated.
Hey guys. So, task mail has arrived. Good evening, leaders. Your task for tomorrow looks at the social conceptions and expressions of sexuality. You are to investigate the portrayal of the feminine form in the media and assess if that mirrors a degeneration of morals or gender double standards. Ultimately, you are to have a photo shoot. The content thereof must symbolize ideals of females' sexuality. Your task leader is Miss Mazomba.
Please pause. What I'm thinking is that considering the people that basically form our perceptions.
Celebs, eh?
Yeah. Precisely. So I think we should include them a lot within the task, so we can interview some and we can use some for the photo shoot.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Right?
No, that'd be so cool.
All right.
Good night, team.
Good night, team.
Oh, that name has been real.
Now we're going to Market Photo Workshop to meet with Ntsoaki to organize actually with her a photo studio to shoot in for tomorrow's shoot, and also a photographer. And yeah, that's what we're going to do now.
The leaders waited for Ntsoaki Bangani, the marketing personnel from the Market Lab Photo Workshop, for a while.
Watch. Are you sure?
Come.
Yes. You. Yeah.
Okay, come through.
Thank you.
Our students come through here when they have projects to shoot films, images for exhibitions, you know, if ever they do mentorship programs and stuff like that.
Okay. I was also wanting to ask Sisi, tomorrow when we do the shoot, is there a specific time that we'll need to use the studio at, or can we discuss a time?
Yes.
Okay,
so you can just tell me like what time you're planning to come through, then I can just organize that for you.
Between 12 and 2?
It shouldn't be a problem. I don't see a problem.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
We're here at Urban Brew Studios. We're here to be interviewing a few celebrities. We want to gain perspectives from these well-known people in South Africa in terms of their sexiness and what is their definition of being sexy, and those are the kinds of things we're wanting to find out from these celebs.
What do you find sexy in women?
For me, I think definitely someone who's confident is always the first one.
Okay. How you carry yourself can make you look sexy. How you carry yourself can also make you sound sexy, you know.
I suppose if you loosely translate that in English, it's sort of the beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Claim Awisa. Okay.
She's got a great body.
You don't have to be a size 28 to be sexy.
You can still be sexy and covered up. Yeah. You don't always have to sort of show the boobies and the bums and the legs and everything else. It's nice to sort of be able to use your imagination.
And then they got carried away.
Young women often express sexy in terms of how their role models convey it to them. So they often want to portray what Beyonce is doing. So if Beyonce says, guys, sexy is having your thighs out like this, like that.
For me, I'm a thighs kind of guy, you know, and I find flesh very sexy, you know.
Okay. The candidates decided to find out how young male students define sexiness at the University of Johannesburg. As
to what sexy is.
What do you think is sexy?
Sexiness comes from the first time you see a woman by her physical features, but then I find sexiness also in their inner characteristics. So for example, shyness, I don't know why I find that sexy, but I just do.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, guys. How are you? Good, thanks. I just want to ask you guys a question. What is sexy in a woman?
What is a sexy woman?
Ass.
She has a sexy body.
Yeah, it's the body posture.
Assets, you know?
Assets.
Yeah.
And then we will say why. We will say
Show me a woman's feet.
Show a woman's feet? Hello. Hi. Okay. What is a sexy woman?
Someone like you.
Okay.
You're watching One Day Leader, and today we're looking at how media portrays women and the negation this causes in the way our young women view themselves. Before the ad break, our contestants found some interesting facts about how men view women. Now, this task was to change that perception through a photo shoot. Let's take a look. The leaders decided that today they would prepare a few delicacies to ensure that their models and photographers are nourished for the day.
We are here at Market Photo Workshop. Task leader Natasha and Jabu are just fetching books at the Wits charity store, which is part of one of the sets for the shoot today, and also the props that we'll be using in the shoot. Good morning, guys. Morning. Hi. Hi. Yeah, I've just been tasked to brief you about the photo shoot which you guys will be conducting for us. We have two celebrities who are coming in. We have Uboiti. And then we have Usindi, who is Zinhle from Generations. So the theme is around ideals for female sexuality and almost challenging the perceptions of female sexuality and how we conduct ourselves and how we expose our bodies, in the double standards of society, challenging it. So that's the theme. And then to actually get that message across in the shoot, we have these two celebs who are quite well known in South Africa, and the body shapes are different, the personalities are different, they're very different people. So we've got 5 strong messages that we want, or 5 shots that we want to come out in the photo shoot. And yeah, simple stuff. What we add in is simple props to the shots so that they're not just having a photo shoot of them posing.
They chose Cindy Buthelezi, better known as Zinhle from Generations, and the famous Tumelo Boititulo to inspire their notion of sexiness.
A lot's going on all at once, but I guess when people are busy and things are happening, you know something's happening, so I'm satisfied, I'm excited.
I'm excited, nervous at the same time, because I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing, but I hope it's going to have an impact.
This should be fun and should be great. Just to show that there is more to a woman than just her physical attributions that make her sexy. So I think the photo shoot will help a lot.
It's a great idea to have women depicted in not just only as sex icons, but as also intellectuals, because there are a lot of women who are intelligent and who are normally not depicted on TV, you know, so I think it's interesting that this kind of shoot is happening.
Welcome back to One Day Leader, where we investigate sexiness and the portrayal of women in media. The contestants were tasked to come up with a photo shoot to portray alternative pictures of women compared to what is currently out there. And let's have a look at those pictures.
The photo shoot does say that you can be sexy in different ways and in different means, especially with the props that we used, and especially the way that the photographer helped us incorporate the message that we wanted to say.
Today was a bit challenging for me because I didn't handle my time very well, so I had to sort of delegate my time and delegate tasks to the other leaders, and I'm very grateful. They helped me a lot. Special mention to Usam. Usam was like my wingman today. She did an amazing job. So did the other leaders, but I feel I felt her presence in today's task.
Wow, well done leaders, and thank you for that. Very, very productive. And now we have a look, of course, at your comments to tell us what you think about this evening's topic. And I have a tweet from Ms. Gugulethu Ntsobe at Gugulethu_N_, and she says at One Day Leader essay, it's so sad that the media always portrays sexy as tall, skinny, light-skinned with a bit of flesh showing. And Tuli at Zulu Tuli says at One Day Leader, firstly, women should stop categorizing themselves. We can't be labeled as thick and sexy. A confident woman is a sexy woman. Thank you so much for all your comments. I see them there and keep them coming. And now we head over to our judges. And I understand, Shaka, you have a question?
Yeah, Natasha, how do you feel about this task? I don't think... I don't see that you've made the impact. It still looks to me in the power shoot, the small curvy woman is the one everyone looks up to. The big woman is the one that has the books with her. Don't you think that you've just fed into the same stereotypes that you're trying to break?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that we fed into any kind of stereotype. With regard to how the shoot went and who we chose to do what, it was a random selection. And Cindy Buthelezi unfortunately had to leave earlier on. So by the time we got to that bit, we had Uboiti there. It wasn't a matter of we want specifically Boiti to do this or Cindy to do this, but to work as a collective and to execute the task. So no, I don't think we fed into any kind of stereotype.
Thank you, Natasha. Catherine?
My question's for Octavia. You made it quite clear that you prefer the images that we actually perceive in the media and how women are perceived. So did you find it perhaps difficult to fit in with the line and the direction that the team were taking for this task?
In the beginning, I think I found it interesting, not difficult. I believe that the task was more personal for me because I was actually trying to change my views. I was the target market they were looking to convince. And on talking and engaging with the men and the women that we did of celebrities, they actually gave me insight that made me grow as an individual. So in the end, no, it was more of a growth thing, not a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Octavia. Cesar, do you have a question?
Right, I have one for Tshwanelo. As a group, you've researched and named 5 factors that you collectively thought contributed to a woman's sexiness. How have those views influenced your personal perspective since?
Wow, I learned so much from the task. Honestly, growing up, seeing Nicki Minaj, seeing Beyonce in the media, and being told and bombarded that sexy is naked, sexy is this, I learned that as an individual because I don't necessarily always want to be undressed when in the public. I learned that that when I'm powerful, I am sexy. When I'm confident, I am sexy. When I'm fun, I am sexy. I learned so much. It really consolidated what I've always stood for.
Thank you so much, Tshwanelo. Thank you so much, judges, for all those questions. Now, it's time for us to start our debate. I'm sure you're looking forward to it. Our topic is, how do we change double standards around women's sexuality? And how do we, of course, impact how society views this? But before we get into it, let's have a look at the debate rules.
Every leader has a set of instructions and disciplines to live by. These are the rules for the one-day leader debates. You have 30 seconds to state your vision statement, 60 seconds for the opponent to challenge, and 30 seconds to conclude your debate.
Okay, now those are the rules of debate. And our first debate is between Leader 5, Jabulani, and Leader 6, Samantha. We'll start off this debate with Leader 5, Samantha, rather. Leader 5, Samantha. Your 30 seconds begin now.
Thank you so much. I think in terms of this topic, for me personally, we need to look at the state of acceptance, or rather the state of normalization. So that's the key word for me today. It's normalization. In other words, what have we as society, collectively as men and women, culturally and systematically embedded as appropriate in terms of how we view women's sexuality, how we deem women fit in certain situations and not others. So for me, we need to raise young, decent, strong men at the same time.
Thank you so much, Leader 5. And now Leader 4, my apologies there. Leader 4, your 60 seconds, of course, to challenge begin now.
So Sam, you said you want to look at what we've embedded into the society, which I completely agree with. But we need to look at how we're trying to change those double standards and the perception that we're trying to receive. And I want to know how you're going to do that. Answer that first question for me, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Leader 4. I think for me, we need to have a practical scenario in terms of communities. And that means a coalition between both men and women. What we need to do is we need to raise young, decent, polite, well-managed men. We also need to have emphasis and importance just as much on the girl child as we do on the male or boy, rather, in terms of children or families, because this is a patriarchal society. And you need to understand, Jabulani, that structurally men are still in power. In other words, there won't be any transformation unless we have a deep introspection and consciousness amongst both men and women. Right. Women need to support each other, but men also need to be part of a coalition with us.
I want to ask you, you said we need to raise them. How are we going to raise them?
Thank you so much, Leaders. Unfortunately, time is up. Leader 5, now you can conclude your vision statement in 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. Again, I tackle the issue of normalization because it is socially embedded as to how we view women in today's society. We need to, number one, raise decent, strong men who know how to not only respect women, but support women in a patriarchal society. Number two, we need to have an emphasis on young girls in terms of education, in terms of mentorship. We also need to decolonize the media in terms of the westernization, in terms of our psychological views as African women of ourselves and men as well in this patriarchal society.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Jabulani, it will be very interesting to hear what you have to say as a man. And your 30 seconds to provide us with your vision statements begin now.
Rachel Allison published a social science research which states it's not the most representative, but it's the largest and it's the most diverse, saying that 44% of men and 30% of women endorse a double standard. I'm saying we need to believe in this educational society and we need to use the mediums that are communicating these double standards to people, which is the media that we've heard before now. And we need to teach grade 9 students within allied societies to engage about their perceptions and the correct diverse context and situations that we have, because we live in a diverse cultures with 11 different cultures, and we need to give their
Thank you so much, Leader 4. Samantha, 60 seconds to challenge. Beginning now.
Thank you so much, Jabulani. As much as I agree with many of your sentiments, I want to ask you this key question. Yes. In terms of males, as it stands now structurally in South Africa, yes, they are still the architects of power and patriarchy, society and chauvinism. So I want to know, because they determine legislation, because they carry a millennium of sexism and chauvinism, how are you going to convince only at grade 9 level men to have a different mentality in terms of women?
In terms of life orientation, in the context and the themes of life orientation, it says that it looks at social engagement. That's one of the things in life orientation. So I'm saying before we get these grade 9 learners to carry on, we need to engage with their perceptions of what they think of the double standard, as well as give them the right context. Sam, we need to realize that.
Jabulani,
Sam, let me finish my point.
At home,
let me finish my point.
Community environment, not only at
and
school.
hence I say we're looking in terms of media and life orientation in terms of the context.
But media only speaks
and
to
what
a
I'm
certain
saying
amount
is
of people.
we need to look at our society. If I'm a woman and I'm giving a breastfeeding to certain else in a Zulu context and showing my breast, it is condoned. But in different other cultures,
thank you so much, Jabulani. You might as well conclude now in 30 seconds. Begin now.
Thank you very much. And what I'm trying to say is that there are different contexts and there are different situations in our society. And if we teach these people that, listen, in these contexts, it's all right to do this in terms of their sexuality and as well as giving them perceptions, we can alter in terms of what they think because it is a mindset in terms of what we're offering in terms of the double standards. Hence, I say we're looking at media because this is the mass communication that is perceiving this, and we're looking at life orientation because this is included in terms of the themes in what they're communicating in terms of social engagement.
Time is up. Thank you so much, leaders. A round of applause. Wow. Getting it into hard, a man versus a woman. Let me give the judges a few moments to deliberate and also remind you that you need to be judged wherever you are. And you can do so by voting for your favorite leader. SMS the leader number, leader 4 or leader 5 to 34020 and decide who took that debate for you. Leaders, are you ready to, of course, tell us who your winner is?
All right, Jabu, I think you got the point of double standards excellently, but you're saying media and life orientation. At school, Samantha trumps you because she starts from home. She also mentioned media, plus a grand coalition of men and women of consciousness. I think that takes it. Samantha, well done.
Leader 5 takes the debate. A round of applause. Congratulations, Samantha. Thank you so much, leaders, for an exciting debate. And after the break, we have 2 more debates. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to One Day Leader. Our topic for this week is: how do we change the double standards around women's sexuality and our society views this? I mean, how do we change the perception that our own country has in the way we portray women? Now, our next debate is between Leader 6, Octavia, and Leader 3, Natasha. And we begin this one with Leader 3, Natasha. Your 30 seconds begin now.
Okay, so I believe that the change begins with women themselves. So long as women condone such behavior both in men and in society, this is not going to change. We blame the media and we say that the media condones this behavior, but the media, we need to understand, is a business. It's a demand-supply type of thing. So long as women allow for sex to sell, and so long as there is a supply of sex sells, then we cannot change perceptions and we cannot eradicate the double standards. We want to be independent of men, yet we continue to define ourselves according to a man's standards and compromising our
Thank you so much,
values.
Natasha. Octavia, 60 seconds to challenge. Begin now, sir.
Thank you for that. So basically what you're saying is that women should step up. And like what I remember from what Sam said to me last week is that talk is cheap, right? And it's important for you not to say just step up. You haven't told us how you're going to step up. And another thing I want to emphasize on stepping up, it's easy to say step up. Like for instance, last week, when you said step up to the health challenge, but you ate chips during the challenge. We need to go further than that.
All right. So your question is?
My question is how? You said we need to, but how? Something feasible that can be implemented tomorrow, not something that's just up in the air.
So within the home, we need to teach young girls that there is more to being a woman than your physical attributions. We need to teach this to, like Sam said, the young boys in school as well, that there is more to women than the way a woman looks. You need to look far beyond that. We need to include this
Natasha,
within education and within the home.
Don't tell us about we need to teach fairy dreams. How? Let's get there.
Thank you so much, leaders. You might as well conclude now, Natasha, in 30 seconds.
So what I'm saying is that the reality is that just because something is done within the West, it cannot be done within South Africa. We have different cultures, and those cultures are formed by different morals and standings within ourselves. So I'm saying that so long as women allow for the media to portray them in a certain light, and so long as they feed a supply, this is not going to change. Women need to take a stand and say this is not the only thing that women are about. There is more to a woman than the way she looks or the way she acts.
Thank you so much, leaders. All right. Octavia, now you have your chance to give us your vision statement in 30 seconds.
Okay, if we want to kill the double standards surrounding females in society and how we perceive it, we need to lower the access of demeaning content of media to men and women. These mediums being television, internet, and radio. And at the same time, we need to increase the amount of empowerment content to women. Why is it that the last time I heard about a powerful woman was in a blog? Is it because I'm ignorant? Or is it because Nicki Minaj's video is trending on YouTube? We need to weaponize media in such a way to change people's perceptions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Octavia. Natasha, you may challenge in 60 seconds.
It's ironic that Octavia asked me a question and says talk is cheap, and yet he goes and does talk is cheap. You say we need to lower access in media. How? You say we need to weaponize women. How? Talk is cheap.
Okay, cool. So the application is simple. To lower the access on televisions, all we need to do is simply cut down on the number of shows of a certain nature. For instance, Rico Boza. Why not move learning and educational programming into prime time? In order to lower access on demeaning content on the internet, as citizens, we need to lobby government to institute an internet censorship policy similar to the one that was instituted in China in 2011.
Is in fact
what the Chinese government did was block 2,700 websites to increase the domestic trafficking on their internet. We need to restrict access to improve the trafficking on material that's used to empower women. We need to weaponize media to change perceptions of tomorrow. Thank you, Natasha.
And in doing so, are we still going to be able to ensure that media continues as a business
and
not just as
with
a tool?
government?
All right,
government
thank you, leaders. Interesting debate there. Octavia, just wrap it up for us, please, in 30
with
seconds.
pop culture defining women's sexuality through media, to reform this opinion, we need to use the same medium, and we need to use how information is portrayed to society. Information is the most powerful weapon that we can bring a paradigm shift in the double standards of women. Let's stop people from having to see Miley Cyrus tell us that women are only good for twerking, and let's give some media time to women like Winnie Madikizela Mandela for us to tell us how to be defiant and revolutionary females, for those of you out there. Thank you.
A round of applause for our leaders' debate. Thank you so much. Leaders, our judges are still deliberating, and I still want to remind you that if you feel leader 3, Natasha, or leader 6, Octavia, did it for you, SMS their leader number to 34020 and ensure that they stay in the competition. All right, judges, due to time, I need to push you, please, to give us the winner of this debate.
All right, I think it's a really tough one because we've gone back and forth and they've both mentioned some really strong points. But I think because Octavia came up with solid examples of these type of content that should be more included and more visible in our space, it leans to you.
All right, Octavia takes this debate. A round of applause. Interesting. Well, finally, we have leader 1, Tshwanelo, for this week, choosing her opponent. Tshwanelo, have you decided who you want to challenge?
I think I'll take the girl who I don't remember debating quite clearly, Matasha Mazomba.
All right, Natasha and Tshwanelo will debate, of course, debate 3. And Tshwanelo, you open up with your vision statement.
All right, this is addressed to the policymakers out there. There is more to us in society than being just sex bombs, wives and mothers. I believe that policies such as housing subsidies and support services, government programs that state that an unmarried woman without children cannot qualify for an RDP should be revised. Moreover, stated in the Gauteng Legislature Women's Parliament, we need more female policymakers because patriarchy perpetuates a limited perception of women that is portrayed in the media. Considering how people passively consume mass media,
thank you so much, Tshwanelo. Natasha, would you like to challenge? The 60 seconds begin now.
Tshwanelo, I'd just like to give you an opportunity to actually address the topic at hand,
I am
which is
addressing the topic. What you don't understand is we're talking about sexuality, not sexiness. That's what we're talking about right now, sexuality. And this addresses sexuality. Being a female is not just about me being sexy. It's about me being a female, and that goes on culture and many things, and I'm addressing that right here.
Please address it for me so that I can articulate and be clear on what you're saying.
Parliament, moreover, stated in the Gauteng Legislature Women's Parliament, we need more female policymakers because patriarchy perpetuates a limited perception of women that is portrayed in the media. Considering how people passively consume mass media, it should be law that entertainment industry re-educates on the vital roles played by both genders, not only females, because we need a balance when portraying females.
Okay, so I spoke about this earlier to Octavia, and I say that so long as there is a supply to the media of women who are willing to go out there half naked or naked, I give you your chance. Please listen to me.
No, you need to understand, Natasha, this is the engagement trap. It's not just about the women who are portraying.
So long as there is a supply of women who are willing to portraying.
Thank you so much, leaders. Tshwanelo, wrap up your vision statement in 30 seconds.
Policies such as housing subsidies and support services should say that if a woman is 21 years old and earns less than 3,500, should qualify for an RDP. Whether or not the government helps me should not be based on my marital status and whether or not I have a man attached to who I am or my fertility. I believe that it should be about what the government can do for me and what the media can do for me and what I can do for my country as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Tshwanelo. You have a chance now, Natasha, to give us your vision statement once more. Begin now, ma'am.
First, I'd just like to say it's unfortunate that I find myself in a screaming match as opposed to a debate. But what I would further like to say is that so long as we have people in the media, women in particular, who are willing to be portrayed in this manner, we cannot break the cycle. Even if we limit it to a certain number of TV shows or magazines that allow for women to portray themselves in this light, so long as it exists, so long as the supply is there, the demand will be there, Tshwanelo. So whatever legislation that you come up with, whoever the policy makers are, so long as they are women there...
Thank you so much, Natasha. You may dive in now, Tshwanelo, and challenge.
Natasha, do you understand that the media as an entertainment industry and so forth as an educational industry, it's not just about what I want to do when I get to One Day Leader. It's about the policy that comes with One Day Leader. There are policies that are attached to each and every show that we watch. We need policy makers, as Octavia said, to actually put aside shows like, I don't know, Real Gobwaza and encourage shows like One Day Leader during prime time. It is policy makers who hold the power of what we perceive in the media.
Like you so rightfully say, Tshwanelo, the media is an entertainment as well as an educational source. So if you still have the entertainment factor there...
We can be entertained by One Day Leader right now. We can be entertained by other shows. I don't need to be
all that you're going to be entertained by?
Why do you think women...
the only source of
entertainment? Why is it women need to be naked to entertain the public? Why?
Why exactly? Why do women agree to do that?
They're not
so long as women want to do it. They consent, Tshwanelo. They are not forced
into it.
They pushed into it.
Natasha. It's what we are taught in the media.
Adults, grown adults, signs of contract.
Not only grown adults who do it. Even young girls take part in this because we're taught by our Beyoncés and
Thank you, ladies.
That's what's right.
Thank you so much. All right, Natasha, you may now wrap up your vision statement.
Like I said, Tumelo, we can have policies, we can have frameworks. What I'm saying is that there will always be a certain percentage that is allowed. We cannot totally say, media, you are not allowed to portray women in this light at all. We need to understand that media is a business. Magazines need to sell, and so long as we say that sex sells and there's a supply of the sex selling, we cannot eradicate this. This is why I'm saying we need to start with the values and the principles of women themselves so that they can say, I refuse to be a part of that. That way it ends.
A round of applause for debate 3. I'm telling you, the women are going in hard in Women's Month. All right, judges, are you ready to give us an answer? Oh, you've not been confused. You know right on. Catherine?
I think there's a few things that I'd just like to mention. And the one is that we're not, as a panel of judges, going to tolerate this kind of screaming, shouting at each other, talking over each other, catfight, whatever you'd like to call it. Moving forward, we'll start to actually pull people out from that. The other thing is that we need to respect each other's views. We need to do so in a controlled environment. For us, I think that, Tshwanelo, you made critical points that were not made by any of the other leaders. However, you lose this debate on the fact that you were not controlled, you were not able to stand your ground in a controlled manner to allow what you were saying to hold. However, values and principles are very important, and those are at grassroots level starting up, so Natasha takes this one.
A round of applause to Natasha. Congratulations, Natasha. And on that note, we take a break and return shortly.
For the next 13 weeks, our 6 candidates battle to become One Day Leader for Season 3. One of them will shadow the NYDA chairperson on his local and continental trips, get 300,000 rands in cash and 150,000 rands for charity of their choice. And a 5-day trip to New York City to attend the annual JCI Global Partnership Summit, sponsored by the JCI South Africa.
And there are your scoreboards, of course. Jabulani Sibiya is heading there with 20 points. Samantha Beynon is behind him with 15 points. Natasha there with 12 points at the number 3 spot. And Octavia as well sharing that spot with Natasha. Tshwanelo at 9 points. Now we're heading over to Motsweding FM's KB. KB, I understand you have a question for one of our contestants?
Let me go to number 1. You are having nothing in the bank account right now. And I offer you 50,000 rands to appear half naked in my magazine. Remember, you don't have money to go to school right now to register. What are you gonna do?
Well, actually, growing up as a young woman, I must say, those kind of offers come almost every day. You know, if I walk to Sandton, I might just get those offers, but I'll turn it down without a doubt because I know my future. I understand who I am, where I'm going, and I don't need your 50,000 to get where I'm going because it's not always about money that's going to open doors for me. It's about who I am that's going to open doors for me.
Thank you so much, Tshwanelo, and thank you so much, KB, from Motsweding for that very thought-provoking question, I have to say. But judges, very briefly, who impressed you the most this episode?
No one.
Why?
I think, actually aside from Sam, I don't think anyone really got the nub of what we're trying to do here, which is how do we sway a culture that views women in a particular way, that objectifies women. So there's a multitude of things that feed into it. It's not just one size fits all. And I do also think that a lot of us struggled as women to represent ourselves effectively tonight.
Thank you so much, Shaka. Thank you so much, leaders. Thank you, audience members. And you at home for joining us. My name is Tshwanelo Fokazi, and that's how we leave it. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.